Right, okay, so I'm going to cut one of the tobaccos out of today. I will review it tomorrow. I'm not going to smoke sale today. I'm coming down with a bit of a cold, so I'm already feeling a bit bunged up. So, and also the fact that if the sale tastes as strong as what the DVC does, I don't want to be tainting the Gawith's Black Cavendish from about to smoke now with the heavy flavourings on this. I mean, they claim to be natural, unscented, but the amount of like honeys and sugars and molasses and syrups they use, it makes the tobacco so strongly flavoured. They're not really an unflavoured, unscented tobacco, they're just a sugar flavoured tobacco really. But then again, that's what Cavendishes are. So next one is English Cavendish, which is produced a slightly different way. Whereas the American Cavendishes are compressed into blocks and steamed, English Cavendish is kind of heat cured, and then it's compressed into a block and left to ferment anything from days to several weeks. It uses all dark flue cured Virginias, and the result is a tobacco that's that looks a little bit like Latakia, and it does kind of have the oily texture of Perique. The aroma of it is strong. It's got a very smoky aroma to it. Not quite Latakia, not quite Kentucky, but then at the back of it there's that pungent kind of rotting vegetation, plummy sort of Perique hint. I guess the short period of time it's been left of it to mature, well, short if you compare it to Perique, has allowed the fermentation to really kick off. Because this tobacco isn't steam cured, none of the strength is lost. So from reading about it, I'm expecting this to be a hearty, medium strength Virginia tobacco, the complete opposite to what you associate with most Black Cavendish tobaccos. So the process is the leaves are picked, they're heated, compressed into blocks and left to ferment. These are then put out, and the cakes are then cut down into flake, and the flake is rubbed. It's kind of a typical Gawith kind of rough shag cut. There are a few thicker bits in there. But no, so I'm gonna load this one up, and I'll be back with you in a moment, and I'll give you my initial thoughts on this tobacco as I light it. So I'll be with you very shortly. Right, well I'm back. I've loaded up. The packing's quite easy. I've only gone half full again like I have in the other tobaccos. The thick, strandy sort of shag cut makes for an easy packing. I am going to have to taste this though. In the last video I forgot to upload my tasting of the DVC. I might stick that at the end of this video, or it might appear a bit later. So just in a comparison, I'm going to try the same thing with Gawith's Black Cavendish. I am however expecting this to be even more spicy and hotter in the mouth than what the DVC was. Got a very smoked taste to it. Woo! And then a lot of lots and lots and lots of nicotine. It's got the kind of burnt, fire cured taste to it, but the amount of nicotine that gives off, wow. For those of you who've ever chewed Kendall Twist before, yeah. But anyway, let's get this started. Ooh. There is a small amount of sweetness to this. A very small amount of sweetness, a lot of tangy woods and leathers and spice. There's definitely some spice to this. reminds me a lot of just a kind of Kentucky Perique mixture with some extra sweetness. A little bit difficult to keep lit. It's quite an oily tobacco. Sweetness is becoming a bit more pronounced, a bit like a sweet cedar. But all the time it's got that strong, smoky characteristic to it. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going with this, and I'll catch back up with you very shortly. Right, so I'm about halfway through. It's a very complex tobacco, to be honest. I can taste its presence in some English and some Scotch cupcake mixtures as well. It's definitely got a sweetness to it. The sweetness changes continuously. You get kind of like sweet brown, sugary sort of notes to sweet cedars. You've got kind of sweet licorice and leathery tones. It's very, very earthy. Keeps tasting very sort of like medium to full-bodied Havana cigar flavours. It's a very complex tobacco. It's a little bit, they're complex flavours but within a set range sort of thing. It needs something else with it. It's got quite a bit of a, carries quite a lot of nicotine, so it's not an overly powerful tobacco. Once you get it burning, it burns very well. It's kind of stays lit, contains well. The ash burns away to a lovely sort of like medium white to grey sort of finish, but it builds up a nice thick ash like a good cigar. There's no need to tap. Leave your ash on like a cigar. Only if it goes out does it need relighting. There's kind of a lot of spiciness to it as well. There's a very, very long pronounced finish of kind of sweet woods and spices and pepper. But the added sweetness really makes this an interesting tobacco. It'd be a great as a transition for somebody going from cigars onto cigarettes, but want something quite sweet. It just amazes me how dynamic this is. So it's just a base tobacco. I mean, I do this as a sweet aromatic, black cherry, but it's the very, very kind of like pronounced earthy flavours. It comes across as more of a bitter cherry. One of the ingredients used in my my Trent mixture. It's such an enjoyable tobacco. Okay, I'm going to finish off this bowl. I shall give you my closing remarks. Pretty much at the end now. It's getting a bit hot. Very hot actually. Still a very cigar-like flavour. We've got sort of, it's kind of smoky with sweet woods and with cinnamon, and this kind of other very kind of subtle nuances that I can't quite put my finger on, and then it ends on a big spicy earthy finish. There's kind of leathery tones in there. But I've pretty much finished. In fact, I think I pretty much have finished it now. Yeah. No, that was the end of it. So, oh god, not very nice at the end, to be honest. It's a bit better. So yeah, it's an interesting tobacco. It burns very, very quickly. Not quite as fast as the DVC, but a lot quicker than the American style Cavendish. But no, the flavours are interesting. It's very, very complex for a base blending tobacco. Reminds me a lot of a cigar. There's kind of some spicy tones, some sweet tones. You've got earth, dirt, nutty moments, leathers, woods. Oh, it's a great tobacco. Like I was saying in one of the previous segments, you can see why it's used in some English bases. I mean, I've often used kind of drier, less cased American style Cavendishes. I use the black spice of like my mixtures, but I can see why I've had to use those rather than the sweet style Cavendishes. It's been eye-opening trying this one, to be honest. I can see why the exclusive black cherry is such a potent, powerful mixture. No, it's a great blending tobacco. I see there are many things I can do with this coming up in the future. But if you want a quite a complex base to blend with, I mean, I tend to mix Virginia and Kentucky a lot to get a similar kind of characteristics, but this, you don't need to. It makes a great base, some lighter Virginia and some Turkish, so you can really keep the burn going and bring a little bit more sweetness and a little bit more spice into it. And then just sling in some Latakia, Perique, or both if you want to give it that extra kind of finesse to it. But no, Gawith's Black Cavendish, not a sweet aromatic tobacco. I see why it's an aromatic. I mean, why it's a Cavendish. It's still got the sweetness and it's still got the maturity to it, but it's more of a smoked, full-on tobacco. So right, yeah. So that ends this one. There's a bit of a mess there at the end. Excuse the poor bit of editing. I'm going to round it up now with my summary and my comparison of these tobaccos. So thank you very much for watching, and like I say, any comments, any questions, any corrections, stick them in the comments at the bottom. And I'll catch you very shortly. I just need to type all this up and I'll be back with you.